Hi everyone. I am here to do today a painting that I've done several times. I just don't have it behind me, but basically it's going to be an ocean scene at sunset. And okay, just finally found one of my cats have been hiding here. Um, Sorry, I'm a little distracted. But anyway, I'm going to be using a blow dryer for the ocean, and I'm going to be using a paper towel and swipe to make the sunset. I've had some really cool results. Sometimes it takes me a little back and forth, but I do get it. But I want to kind of do this a little series of kind of create the creation. So what I'm doing today is going to be mostly day two. We might slide into day three, but basically just super quick. I want to tell you, in the beginning, and this is Genesis 1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. So going into the second day, God said, "Let there be a vault between waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. God called the vault sky, and there was evening and there was morning the second day. So let's see how much we can do. I've already done a light layer of white here, and I think I finally figured out how to do it just light enough without overdoing it. And make sure I was watching one of the videos back from another time, and I'm like, okay, yeah, go around the edges, but I don't necessarily, especially in front, make sure, and it's like you can see where it didn't cover, but I think I've got it now. So anyway, I want to start with the sky, and of course the darker colors are going to be up on top, and they do kind of end up blending together. No two skies I've ever done have looked alike. So I'm going to start with the Artist Loft here, a little bit on the top with deep magenta. Here is just a little bit of a dark purple. I'm probably going to wish that I had more of this darker purple to kind of go through the whole thing. Because, you know, it's just kind of a cool color. Alrighty. We'll put a little bit more of this through here. Don't go too crazy. We need just a little blue. Yeah, the sky has blue in it, especially up here at the top. The water reflects the sky. Alrighty. And then, okay, now also this is my pink, light magenta, medium magenta, I think it is. And if you notice, I'm using old pill bottles. There's pros and cons to that. I started using this so that, like, if I mix the paint up and I just did it in a cup, which I did for a long time, I ended up throwing out a lot of paint. So came up with this, and it was a great way to be able to save paints between uses. But, and I mean, and it does preserve, especially a lot of times the paint that's left on there like makes the lid stick, so it keeps that paint pretty fresh. The downside is when you're mixing it in here, because you can't see levels so much, sometimes it's kind of a guessing game as to how much you have to mix of what. So I kind of have to keep going back and forth a little bit. Okay, and then the yellow. Okay, yeah, the blue always has to stay way at the top. Actually, I usually kind of do the water and the sky kind of half and half. A little bit more of this here. With most of my other paintings, I usually have a pretty good idea of how I want it to go. With these paintings, it's like I know it's going to be real general, and like I said, it may take me a couple swipes back and forth, but I'm usually pretty darn happy with what I get. All right, so I have found it kind of works best to do a good swipe with this with a wet paper towel. And I'm going to see if I can't get you a little closer here. Anyway. All right, just a minute. Okay, I think I've got a little closer. You can see what's going on. And this is a wet paper towel. And I just drag it along here. Okay. And this is where it's kind of fun that you get the extra wet. Let's see here. I'm going to turn this around so you can see more what I'm doing. Maybe. Okay. Alrighty. And I want to go, oh, I know you can't. See if I can get you there. Because I also don't want it just, each layer just straight across. Because that's not what a sunset or a sunrise looks like. It's never just straight across. I got to tip it, sorry. A little out of camera. Here. Just don't want to get anything on my floor. Alrighty. I just want that to go down a little more. Okay. Let's spread it this way a little more. Okay. I am really liking this. I have had a few of them that I've got to say there's one in particular that's a favorite, and a friend of mine bought it. She put in a request for it pretty much right off the bat, and I was more than happy to accommodate her. Okay. And yeah, those little drips, that's where the ocean's gonna be, and of course, with any luck, they'll kind of shine through. Okay. Only thing I want to do is, I do want to see about adding just a little more yellow down there at the bottom. Okay. There. Let's take this little piece and drag it. This is where you just lightly drag it. I like some more orange up there at the top. Just not a lot. Okay. Oops. Okay, let's see. And just lightly, when I did the first one, it was kind of a heavier drag. This gets a little lighter just so I can keep it on top. And create that feeling of, okay. Alrighty. I like it that we've got this blue corner over here. And let me get you a closer look at what the sky looks like so far. Okay, so here's the sky so far. It's gonna be a day I'll do one of these skies and I'll put mountains in front of it, but that's so far. And yeah, we got those dribbles down, but you know, hopefully that'll shine through a little bit when I blow out the waves. Okay, so back to the other way. All right, before I hit the waves though, I do want to just go over this with some heat. Again, this pops any bubbles and sometimes gives it just a little more life to okay, now I am really, really hoping that dries at least that good. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now for the water. All right, so I got 3 shades of blue, and then I'll probably pop in some white also. And the reason I do, and each color goes all the way across, and this is, I do the sky first because I've got to do more tipping of the whole canvas to get the sky to do what I want it to do. The ocean goes into place with the blow dryer. Alrighty. And now a little darker blue through here. Okay, I've not done this before, but seen this happen before, but as I'm squirting this blue out, it's creating some effects of its own. So, new, you learn something new every day. Okay. And we'll have to see if I need to make up some more dark blue. And here is some turquoise. So I remember when I took my kids on a cruise to the Caribbean. That water when we were out in the ocean was this super cool turquoise color. The funny thing is, I was going through pictures this morning to see what was on all my jump drives, flash drives, thumb drives, whatever, and saw some pictures from the cruise that I'd totally forgotten about. Some of them I looked at myself and I went, yeah, that was not really the look I was going for, but the cruise was kind of fun. Glad I got to do it. Okay, now I need to squirt through just a little more white because for some wake. Alrighty. And then we'll see if I'm gonna need more of that darker. All right, let's see what we got. I've got to mix up a little more of the darker blue so we can get everything in there. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a little more ultramarine blue, so I am actually just gonna start squirting it out. I think I've got it the right consistency I want. So yeah, the waves, the water, the ocean, it takes a lot more paint than the other does. And actually, this was kind of one of the first techniques I learned when I started doing some fluid art. People making beaches. I've also seen it done with resin. I have not perfected that. Painting with resin is fun. I've done a little bit of it. Not a lot. I suggest there are definitely people that have their videos on how to paint with resin. I've played around with resin with other stuff, just not making the beach scenes. But they look super cool, so I'm hoping I'll get around to playing with that a little more. Alrighty, so let's see if we can blow in some waves. Alright, and more white. I'm going to take the lid off of this again so I can get more of it. It's all about the contrast. A little bit of white just doesn't cut it, even if there was a lot of white in the back. Like I said, just to blow out something this big, it's a lot of paint. And a little bit more through here, because the blue will probably still come up and over it. Okay, that was more than I bargained for. Alrighty. some white over in here. Alright, I'm gonna see, because this area right here is just wanting to be really super stubborn. And actually, I'm just gonna do this one more time, and I may do something totally different. Okay, I am gonna do something different than I've done. I'm gonna see if I can get you closer to the water. Just because I ran my finger over this middle area and I really like what it did, so I'm just gonna do that. Yep, folks, this gives a whole new meaning to finger painting. Because there are times I've done this, like the waves just kind of, there'll be some places that they just overtake it. And I've been kind of thinking about this over the last several days as I was putting in my head together how I wanted to do this. Make the water. Okay, yeah, and we're getting, and the thing is, I don't want to get the water up too much into that sky, because I really love what it's doing down on the bottom. I don't want to lose it. Okay, now I am I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Because that is a ton of paint down there now. But if I see, that's a great thing about this. If I do it I don't like it. It's not too hard to go back to blowing it out. Okay, I know what I can do. Get my handy dandy straw. Be right back. Okay, I'm gonna add a little more white to this since I kind of buried some of it. And here on top, you're not going to see so much of the waves. Let me do just a little more down here. Alrighty. Yeah. Okay. I think I like this effect. Let me get you closer so you can see this. Okay, so here we are, because this, I want most of that, but this is the area I really, really want to preserve. So we just roll. This is where I don't mind mixing the blue and the yellow make green. So and actually, as you can see, I am gonna have to that is not doing what it usually does. So I'll be painting that into a mountain, and that's where, if we keep reading in Genesis, the third day let there appear water under the sky, and gather to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. And God called the dry ground land, and gathered the waters he called seas. And he said that was good. And actually, since I've got some brown and green, Now, if you notice, God doesn't do a lot on any one day. I mean, yeah, he's the whole world. And it's like, yeah, there's every chance that he spent 24 hours I guess that's one of the things he's going to let us know when we get to heaven. Apparently I'm not to use that color. I tried, yeah, Phthalocyanin green. Now we'll be throwing away this paper, and with any luck I won't get any of it on me before it goes in the trash. Okay. So there we are. And now you just have to wait for that all to dry. And then I can decide whether I need, how much I need to paint that in. But anyway, we'll get back to you once it's dry. That's probably going to be a few days for me and minutes for you. But thanks. Okay, so we're doing some of the touch-ups here and adding some waves here at the surf. Got to give it some depth. I already added a little extra black down here. We'll probably add a little more after this dries. And I'm going to do some touch-ups. All my browns. Okay. I always want to get the sides here to get a nice finished look. Okay, and we'll just see when we're ready for the. Okay, down to the lighthouse. All right, I've got her done. And I think it turned out pretty good. So here we have our lighthouse. Let's close it up a little bit there. All right, and some trees. But of course, I'm all about palm trees. Plus, you get palm trees go up over the top. You can still keep the last of that setting sun in there. But anyway, here we are. And I did have to add some birds into there. And yeah, so God created the heavens and the earth, made the water and the sky. Then he added land to divide up the waters. And then he started with the birds. So we're on about day 4 here of the original. And of course, I had a lighthouse. Yeah, Jesus should be our lighthouse to help us avoid the rocks. All right, thank you. Anyway, let me know what you think. Hit like, submit, follow me, and let your friends know. Leave a comment where you're from, what you think, and so I know you're out there, know what you're looking for. All right, thanks so much. Have a good rest of the day.